Welcome to the Jamodi podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. Tell me a little bit about how this fall has been for you.
I couldn't be happier with the direction it's going right now. Like, love our guys. They're leading each other. Like, they're even doing Bible studies that they chose to do on their own. And when I heard they wanted to do that, I was pumped up. Practice.
That's a good sign, right? Yeah.
It is. It's been amazing. We had our conference tour day, and we had a lot of Division I's, very, very complimentary of what we were doing player-wise and practice-wise. So it's been a blast so far.
And I got to tell you, I love hearing when I get to ask that question at the beginning of these talks, or even at TABC talking to a coach. I feel like you can tell pretty quick from somebody like really how it's going. You can sense it, or you can hear it in their voice, or maybe when you see them in their face. And man, I just the way that you started that out with how good it is going, I really believe that. And is that something that you have great players, no doubt, high character, and they're doing great things, but is that something that you felt pretty much every place you've been and you've been able to create that?
Yeah, I think you can just feel it. Like when you walk into practice, you walk in the locker room, you can just tell when people are locked in and they're talking about what they need to get better at very early on. And, within a week, people were already telling each other what they needed to do. Some of the really good programs I've been a part of, like the team at Fort Scott, we had a top 3 team in school history at Fort Scott. You knew immediately that team was going to be amazing. When I was at SAGU and Waxahachie, we won conference championship. That team was so fun to be around every day in practice. And, you get that feeling right now, which is fun.
I don't think that that's common. I think the feeling that most coaches probably walk into is some bought in, some locked in, and then others that you're still working with, trying to get there. What did you do to create that environment that players wanted to be, like you said, locked in, and then they have the freedom, or they feel comfortable enough to challenge each other? How did you create that environment?
Yeah, I think during the recruiting process, it was more than just, hey, coach, I'm committed to Clarendon. It was me calling them, every couple weeks and just trying to talk to them and talk about life. And we do the same thing here when they get on campus. We have individual workouts, but we also, like in the locker room, the schedule in there, it says like these 4 players are just talking to me or my assistant. And so I think that's just as important as them going and working out for an hour and a half, because if they don't trust you or they don't feel like you have their best interest, then it's going to be a long year. And so, yes, we recruited the guys we wanted to, and I feel like we did a very good job doing our due diligence, talking to other coaches and even their parents and stuff. But we've created the environment we've wanted to, and it started with stuff like that.
I love the moment you said that on the board, it's scheduled with 4 names. That just shows like a level of intentionality that goes beyond, I hope I have good relationships with my players. You're guaranteeing it, or at least giving it a good fighting shot by making that one-on-one time. And I want to just encourage high school coaches, and I'm in a different role now than I was 6 months ago, where at my previous school, I had so much time to sit around because I was doing study halls and off periods all day and to do all these things. I felt getting back into public school now at Midway. I've felt how sped up everything is. When you have your athletics, then maybe an off period, but then you have classes that you have to teach. I can see how easy it is for things like one-on-one meetings to just go out the window. We just don't have time. I have too many other things, but that's been a struggle. But I'm thankful that some of the habits that I had at Faith, like you talked about, scheduling those one-on-ones. We can't create the relationships we want without time, and I don't think that's just basketball, I think that's life.
That's very true. I struggled with it last year. You know, last year was my first year at Clarendon. I took over pretty late out a couple months and we didn't have the best season. And I just looked back like we just went from having a top 3 season at my previous school and then now this is the worst season I've had as a head coach. Like what was a big thing? And big part of it was relationships. I felt like I was just so basketball oriented that I didn't connect with the players as much. And I even talked to my mom and dad about that. And they were like, I couldn't agree with you more. Like that you have to build, it doesn't matter what team, it doesn't matter how good they are. You've got to build relationships with them. And you can already see a difference this year.
And sometimes you're gonna have those players that they love the one-on-one time. They can't wait for their meeting, and then you're gonna have others that you can tell this is not comfortable for them. So whether they're excited about it or you feel like we're forcing them to do it, it's just one of those necessary things that it seems like you've just really figured out.
Yeah, and I feel like there's another side too. Like on my desk, I have these journals, and my wife actually came. She said they did this when she played in college, and it's called a positivity journal. And so in study hall, we bought journals, we gave it to them, and I put 2 questions on the board, and they had to write a page, and then we collected them. And me and my assistant wrote a paragraph in there to them. And so we give those back to them. Not only do we read it, but we get to let them know, like, hey, I'm glad you're here at Clarendon. Like, I love you. You're doing an amazing job. And I think that helps too, because there are players, like you're saying, that don't enjoy talking one-on-one, but some of them can write and express themselves better on that way. So I think doing it both ways kind of touches all players collectively.
Coach, that's great. I don't think I've ever thought about different ways of learning or expressing themselves with culture or standards. I've thought about how players learn on the floor. Some like to see it, some like to hear it, and some like to do it. And so I think a pretty good workout or anytime you're installing something new, a good way to do it is try to involve those 3 ways. Write it up there or watch some quick film, let them listen to you move and then have them do it. But I think you're hitting that same thing almost with the relationship piece. I don't think I ever let guys sit and write their feelings down. And then I love the idea of adding into that positivity journals, 2 questions. Do you do that all throughout the year or how do the journals keep kind of showing back up?
Right. So we'll do it once a week and then,
Okay.
we'll pick 2 questions and then, probably once a month, we're going to allow them to pick the questions themselves so they have some ownership and give them some leadership with it as well.
How long does that take?
We did it yesterday and it took a total of 30 minutes. So we did
Right.
half study hall, they worked, and then the other half they got it out, and it took 30 minutes from me explaining the questions and what we were looking for. And some of them, coach, I'm done, and there's 2 sentences. I'm like, hey, we're not doing that. So yeah, it takes about 30 minutes, and it's not long at all. And then I wrote in 10 of the journals. It took me about an hour, and I think that hour is going to go a long way more than me sitting here watching some more film or something.
Doubt. And I wrote down that 30 minutes because I think if you were to ask any coach, "Hey, do you have 30 minutes a week?" If I told you, "Hey, if you spend these 30 minutes a week, your players, the relationships you have with them, they have in each other, they're buying to the program will just go up in a big way. Are you interested in that? Would you do that?" I think every coach would say yes, but you're sitting there on a Sunday and you're putting your weekly plan together. Man, you got ball handling. You want to install a little bit of flow, but you got some shooting games that you got to get in and things like that, and live play and small sided games. All of a sudden, coach, that 30 minutes is just gone. But it's kind of like TJ Rosine helped me. I learned his daily little mantras or things that he does, like Tough Tuesday. So we spend 3 to 4 minutes a day, them with a partner, and they share just something tough in their life. And then I would bring the guys and I would just ask them, "Hey, is that a waste of time? Or should we just go to basketball?" And again and again and again, they're like, "Oh, no, coach, that's not a waste of time." Just to your point, I think we give up 30 minutes a week to create these relationships time and time again.
Yeah. No, I love that. I might steal that as well. I think that's, I mean, you always got time for 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, and yeah, it's great.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.